Hi, I'm Ian O'Brien, and this is this week's live guitar Q&A. Now, this is a video to answer a question from somebody, a member of my free Facebook group, Guitar Learning Questions. Now, if you want your own questions answered in this format, by video, just search on Facebook, Guitar Learning Questions. I'll invite you right in, and we've got a really strong community based around learning guitar. You get to ask all the questions you want, have them answered. There's a few different activities and stuff we do over the week, lots of support from a really strong community. And if you're having trouble with your guitar learning, ask a question and I will post a video to answer your question. So the question for this week is, I'm having trouble with chords. Well, I'm terrible with chords. How do I speed up my changes? Okay, so what I would say was, whatever type of chord you're learning, whether you're on your bar chords or you're on kind of partial chords and shell chords and stuff like that, or you're on open chords, whether they're your cowboy chords, your EA and your Ds, or any other type of chord, I would use a technique that I call a 1 minute movement in order to speed up those chord changes. Now, when people begin learning guitar, the biggest challenge is not just fretting the chords and playing them cleanly, but actually moving at speed between them. Okay, so this is a sort of technique that I use and I get all my students to use, and it works really, really well with kind of hitting the most important kind of aspect of your guitar playing, the biggest challenge kind of head on. So all it takes is 1 minute, okay, and what I recommend is doing 3 of these every day. And what we do is we pick a specific chord change. So Wes wants to speed up his chords, and so do a lot of people. So here's how I would do it. Let's say we're taking a couple of classic chords, say a G, open chord, and a C. Okay, and what I would do for 1 minute movements is I would grab a timer, could be on your phone, anything like that, a stopwatch. There's a website called Egg Timer, and it's like e.ggtimer.com. I use that all the time. If I'm on the computer, I find it really, really handy. You can just refresh the browser and the timer goes straight away. You don't have to fiddle with setting it up. It's good. Okay, so here's what I would do. I would kind of measure your first attempt at changing, okay? And here's how I would count it. I would count the full set of changes. So I've picked 2 chords. I've picked the G, I've picked the C, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set my stopwatch, okay? So the stopwatch is on, and I go straight away, and I count it like this. Play each chord just once. I quickly try to change to the other chord. Play it just once, and when I change back, I count 1. I go again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, however fast you're comfortable going. Now, what I'm going to say, I'm going to stop there, I won't do it for a full moment. What I'm going to say is that it's really important to measure your chords. This is designed to push the speed, is what I wanted to say. It's designed to push the speed, so push how fast you can do it a little bit. Don't worry about perfection. Some people, when they first start playing, they're really precise about everything they do, which is fantastic, and that is ultimately what we want. But it can stop the speed of your movement, okay? So if you're getting like 100% perfect sounding chords in your changes, but you find you're not changing particularly fast, then drop your quality, drop it to around 90, 80% and really push the speed that you're doing during your 1 minute movement, okay? If your chords sound terrible and they're a mess, then don't push your speed. Get them up to, 80% sounding pretty good, okay, and then look at pushing your speed. But it's about the speed of your chord change. So 1 minute, see how many you can do, and I'm not counting every single change, I'm counting the kind of set. It's just 2 movements. And write down your score, because tomorrow, do exactly the same thing, okay? There's some sort of old managey guru guy, I don't know, I heard it years ago. He said what gets measured gets managed. And I think it applies really well with learning guitar. Nothing to do with management and stuff like that, but if you measure your score, you can get kind of motivation by seeing how far you're progressing. 'Cause sometimes it feels like you're not progressing, okay? So you can actually see how far you're progressing, which is really motivating, and it's a bit like a game trying to beat your score. So if you kind of monitor that and you manage your your score and you measure it, you can improve it, and it can be a really kind of good feedback loop built into your playing to help you progress and see how well you're doing. So don't do hundreds of these because you know, you don't want to burn yourself out and stop having fun. Continue trying all the stuff you do when you're learning to play guitar, having a go at songs, etc. But do what I would recommend, 3 of these a day, okay? All chord changes can be brought up to speed unless you can happily change them in the context of a song, okay? Then go for this 1-minute movement every day and measure your score, you know, until you're comfortable with that movement. It's sort of building in the habit and the freedom of movement with this stuff. There's quite a few things involved in this and connected to it, but I just wanted to take a single kind of chunk and a single kind of sliver of this kind of stuff and just give you the idea of the 1-minute movement. Measure how long it takes, measure how many changes you can do in 1 minute, okay, to monitor and gradually improve your speed. Treat it like a game. Maybe do one, you know, a set of 3 changes. You could do them over a week, or you could pick 4 days or something like that, or until you feel like you're getting there and you're able to play. Maybe you pick the chord changes from a song and you can do that. That's one of the things I definitely do. Another thing with speeding up your changes is it's about the actual chords you choose to try and play. Are you trying to play chords that are just too tricky for the level that you're at? Are you going for those beefy F bar chords? Are you trying to change from a C to G the very first thing you do? Because what I would say is it's not the best for a beginner to start. If you're more than a beginner and you've been playing for a few months, even longer, maybe you're ready for that stuff. Fantastic, and your E and your A's, but maybe there's easier chords to begin with. I always say this, but I recommend, I've got a set of 6 chords. I call them the Django chords, or the kind of effortless chords. They're designed to be much easier to change between, so if you are getting frustrated changing chords, I'll drop the link to that in the below this video in the kind of message, and you can have a look at those. But if you've got a specific chord change in mind and you're having trouble with that, do a 1-minute movement. Track how many changes you can do. Have a go the next day, have a go the next day, you know. Do it for a week, see what your score is. If you can bring that up by 10, you'll be flying. It'll be fantastic. And it's the bottleneck to a lot of people's playing. And I know I say this stuff a lot, but really, when you first start playing, okay, the speed of your chord changes is the thing that holds you back from playing songs and stuff, okay? So it's the thing to work on. And this is one of the things you can do. Anyway, I've been Ian O'Brien. This is my guitar Q&A for the week that I've posted here on the page. This is a question that I was asked by Wes, who's a member of my group, Guitar Learning Questions. It's a totally free group. If you want videos like this made about your questions, then come along into the group. Just search on Facebook, Guitar Learning Questions. I'll let you write in. You can see all the good stuff we do in there, and you can have your questions answered too. Okay, have a good day.